So you have started learning Japanese. Congratulations! Or you are thinking about learning Japanese and you are most probably wondering, how long will it take me to just get somewhere? How much time and effort should I invest into these studies to reach some level of fluency? Can I really become fluent in Japanese? Can someone become fluent in Japanese? Can someone please give me some guidance on this, please? I'm here for you. My name is Jana Sakowska. I've been teaching Japanese for 17 years. And welcome to my channel, Japanese for Creative Hearts. In today's video, we'll have 3 points of view that will give you an estimate of how much effort, time, and probably money you should invest to reach some levels of fluency in Japanese. We will discuss those levels in more detail in a bit. And of course, we will give the answer to the most important question, the main question, the biggest question out there. Doctor Who? No, sorry, wrong fandom. The biggest question out there is, how long will it take me to watch anime without subtitles? That's the question. Let's get into it without any further delay. We're going to discuss levels of proficiency in Japanese, and to make things easier, I think I will just refer to the levels of the Japanese language proficiency test. This is the most common international examination which measures and certifies levels of proficiency. And as the first perspective, we will discuss the official guidelines for this examination that indicate the number of hours of studying that are typically necessary to reach one level or another. This will be our first official perspective. Then we will have a perspective of dedicated studies, and I will share my experience of studying at the university, and I will be talking about how many hours do people study at the university, like how many hours a week of Japanese, and actually, where do the people get after 1, 2, 3, 4 years of studying at the university? So these are dedicated studies. And finally, the third perspective will be self-studying. Most of my journey, I've been a self-studying Japanese learner, and I know the joys and challenges of this way of learning the language, and most importantly, I know how much time it takes to get from one level to another. And so after we get the whole picture, we will get to this question about anime and subtitles. Let us discuss levels of fluency in Japanese. We will refer to the levels of the JLPT examination, the Japanese language proficiency test, the common international examination which measures and certifies proficiency in Japanese language. And I hope that these levels will give us some idea of where the fluency is in Japanese. So there are 5 levels, and 5 is the easiest one, and 1 is the hardest. And let me say this first, that the lower 3 levels, which are N5, N4, and N3, are student levels. They are really not enough for successful and enjoyable communication. I would say that they can be roughly compared to A1, A2, and B1 levels of proficiency in other languages, very roughly. I think it's a bit lower than that. But still, I think you can get some idea that B1 means that a person can say something in some circumstances, but they are not really fluent, and they can be quite lost in difficult in difficult situations. Okay, sorry. So then we have this N2 and N1. Let us discuss very carefully where fluency is here. So there is this fact that the employers who offer job positions where a person is supposed to use Japanese, like to read in Japanese, to speak in Japanese, to write in Japanese, and so on. These employers expect an applicant to have at least N2 to be successful at this position. And this creates an impression, which I also had when I was younger, that N2 is like enough for business, enough for life. I can get employed and so on. And one is just showing off. And for to reach N1, one is supposed to like live 10 years in Japan and so on. I actually now I strongly disagree with that. And the reason for this is very simple. So there is this governmental list of the common kanji that a person, the adult person in Japan, is supposed to know and to use freely, fluently. And this list of kanji, of characters, consists of 2,100 and something, probably 36 kanji, so 2,000 plus. And this is like, let me reiterate that, an adult comfortable level of language usage. And these all of these kanji are covered at N1. N2 covers half of this kanji, around 1,000 Japanese kanji, which is actually quite a lot by itself. Imagine 1,000 Japanese kanji, but still, it is like just a half of what a person is expected to understand without any difficulty. So, for example, let's imagine that we are looking at an important document, for example, I don't know, a lease agreement. And a person with N2 level looks at this lease agreement and they understand that they understand like half of it because they just don't know the kanji. But they get the half. So they just need a dictionary and time to decipher everything else that they don't know. N2 is a good level, and this is like why employers usually like expect applicants to have this N2 level, and why they like can accept these people for this position. N2 is the level where a person is an independent user of the language who can understand things in a correct way and convey some information in a correct way. Like they won't be doing like beginner mistakes, and they already are quite comfortable with the language. So they really can take this lease agreement, have a look at it, and slowly, steadily, and eventually successfully understand what this agreement is about, and check all the clauses and the important details of this agreement. Persons at N5, N4, and even N3, most likely, like lower levels, they won't understand much. Persons at N3 can make mistakes in understanding, but persons at N2 most likely will not make mistakes in understanding. That's why the employers are okay with N2. And as for N1, the persons with N1 level will just read the agreement, probably a bit slower than in their native language, but still they will just read the agreement and find all the necessary information. Probably they will look up some words in the dictionary, but really it won't take them as long as it will take the persons with N2. And here, please don't get me wrong. Translators, professional translators, usually, this is my dog barking, usually have N1 level, and they will spend a significant amount of time preparing for translation sessions. Or if they are doing the written translation, they can really consult the dictionary a lot. And the reason for that is that Japanese has a special term for just everything. And to understand and to translate things correctly, a person needs to get all the terms and really to prepare for the translation session or for the written translation. So people with N1 level would also use the dictionary a lot, but it's really different from the N2 level where a person just doesn't understand a lot of things. So person with N1 will be quite fluent, and this is really a comfortable usage of language without effort. So a person with N1 will go like, please give me a dictionary and some time to understand it. And for example, there's this agreement, and person with N1 will just say, okay, let me have a look. Oh, okay, here is a passage on this. That's it. So which level should you be aiming at in your studies? Should you be aiming at N2 and become employed? I think that's actually pretty amazing to become employed with Japanese language. Or should you be aiming at N1 all the way up to N1 and like from the beginning brace yourself and to be ready to invest a lot of time and effort in your studies? Well, to answer that, I want to share one thing that my sensei once told me. She told me, Yana, aim for the moon and you will get to the top of any mountain. And let me say that this is a metaphor. Please don't do any irresponsible climbing in order to get to the moon. And actually, this metaphor is quite questionable in a lot of life circumstances. But as for the language learning, I think it's pretty accurate. I would say aim for N1 and you will get all the levels along the way. Now, at last, how long does it take to get there? Let's have a look at the official guidelines by the Japan Language Education Center. And this center advises that these are the figures, these are the hours that are needed to reach each of the levels of JLPT examination. So there are two columns, one for the speakers of languages that use kanji, that use characters, Chinese characters, and one for the speakers of languages that do not use the Chinese characters. So these are quite different figures, and please see for yourself to which category you belong. And also you can see that there are two figures, the lower one and the higher one. Which one should you look at? I think the logic here is quite simple. So the people are very different. For some people, languages are easy, just like bring it on, give me a couple of hours. And for many people, languages are a challenge, and that's completely all right. And so if you know about yourself that languages are easy and fun for you, I think you can say that the lower figure will give you an estimate of how many hours you need for Japanese studies. Also, probably if when you learn some characters, you can have another look at this table, because learning characters is something new for your brain, and these like creating new neural connections can take a longer time that you could have estimated, and that's all right. This is really new exercise for your brain. It will get better, but you can revisit this table after, for example, hiragana and katakana, and see if it is an easy thing for you to learn new characters and all the things that are related to them. And the higher figure is gives you an estimate of how many hours you need if you know that languages are tricky for yourself, are kind of hard. And that's all right. You will just need a bit more time to get used to some characters and all the other things that are in the language. So now it's your turn, and I invite you to do the maths to calculate how many weeks you, for example, if you study several hours a week, I don't know, 4 hours a week, how many weeks you need to get to this or that level. This will be our first perspective out of 3 that I mentioned earlier, the official guidelines. And yes, so this is what you can expect. And see what kind of time and effort investment is needed to get to the level that you aim at. Let's now have a look at what happens at the university where students study Japanese in a very dedicated way. I spent 3 years at the university. This is where I got my bachelor degree in Oriental Studies, and I kind of know how the studies are happening there. And let me share how many hours a week do the students have. So during the first year, the students have 7 classes of Japanese, and each class is 90 minutes long. You can easily multiply by 2 because all the classes, or practically all the classes, have quite significant home tasks. And I would say that yes, a week, students study around 20 hours a week during the first year to get started with the Japanese language. During the second year, students have 6 classes of 90 minutes a week. During the third year, they have 5 classes of 90 minutes, and during the fourth year, 4 classes. So that's actually quite a lot. If you think of it, quite a lot. And so here is the question. Which level of JLPT do the students graduate with? Most of the students graduate with M2, which makes a lot of sense. So the recent graduate student should be able to get employed. But if we think of it, the student studied so much time in such a dedicated way. They studied so hard, and they got only N2 at the graduation. And it's not like that the student gets this certificate at the graduation. They need to take an exam, for example, in summer after they graduate in June. The summer exam usually happens in July, and then in some months they get the information whether they passed the exam or not. So N2, graduate students who recently graduated and got their, for example, bachelor degree, get usually pass N2. In the third part of this video, I would like to talk about my experience with different ways of studying Japanese. I was self-studying, I was studying at the university, and I will answer the question, how long did it take me to get from 0 to N1? And I hope that my story will bring some value to the persons who are mostly self-studying, because I know the process, I know how much time and effort it takes to reach somewhere, and I know how far actually I can get if I am self-studying. So I started learning Japanese in 2003 when I was 14, and for the first couple of years I spent studying with a tutor. Her name was Harima Sensei, and this is one of the most important people in my life. And I'm forever grateful for those years that I spent with her. Actually, after I stopped studying with her, we became friends, and we were friends till she died. And this is a really precious experience for me. So, first 2 years I spent studying with a tutor, and I think during those 2 years I got to somewhere between N5 and N4. And then came the last year of the school, and I had to get ready for the entrance exams at the university. So, to avoid overload of different activities, I switched to self-studying. And I got to the university, and I self-studied for several years. During the university years, I was self-studying, and then I self-studied from 2005 till 2010, when I got my bachelor degree in psychology. And I think I was around N3 at that time. And then I entered another university, the one that I mentioned in part 2 of this video, the one where I studied Oriental Studies, Japanese history and culture. And I spent there 3 years. So I entered with N3. I think I was my level was higher than the average level in the group. So I was attending more advanced classes of Japanese than everybody, the classes of Japanese from another year. So by the time I graduated, I think I was around N2. I have a certificate of N2. I'm not sure which year was it, but I think around 2013 I got N2. So I became a Bachelor of Oriental Studies, Japanese history and culture, with the N2 level. And then I self-studied again. I self-studied till I got N1, which was in 2015. It took me 2 attempts to pass N1. So one was failure. I think it was in 2014. And then it was a success when I finally got N1. So actually, I think that it is absolutely possible, because I did it, to study from N2 to N1, because a person at N2 is already a competent user of the language. They know what to expect, what to do, what to learn, how to learn, and many other stuff. So it's really possible. It is doubling the knowledge, and it is really not a big deal. It's just time and effort. So I did it, and I think that any person who is at N2 can reach N1 if they dedicate some time and effort into this. So, how much time did it take me to get from 0 to N1? Let's count. Yes, 12 years. 12 years, out of which I think, so I had 2 years in the beginning and 3 years at the university, 5 years of kind of dedicated studies, and 7 years of self-studying. I think I could have done it in less time, but it's still quite a lot. It is quite a lot, really. 12 years of life dedicated to reaching fluency in Japanese. So if you are self-studying, think about it really carefully and manage your expectations. It is doable. It needs time and effort. The more time and effort you can invest into your studies, the quicker you will get to the level that you are aiming at. And now, let's get back to the question. At which level can a person watch anime without subtitles? And I will be honest with you here, my answer to this question is N1. Why? Because at N1, experience in Japanese language becomes a pleasure, a real pleasure, not a feeling of infatuation that a person can feel at the beginner level. And I completely relate to that. I was infatuated with Japanese language from my first symbol of katakana. I studied katakana first, then I studied hiragana. I was absolutely infatuated, and this infatuation took me, I think, through all this long journey to fluency. But at N1, this feeling of pleasure becomes a mature feeling of fluency, not the beginner infatuation, but another like victorious feeling that I can, I don't know, sit in a bus, open a Japanese book and just read it for pleasure for several minutes without using the dictionary, without trying to guess what this passage means. I just read it for pleasure. The same happens with watching anime. Watching anime essentially is listening to a lot of language and understanding what the characters are saying. And this language is not structured in a listener-friendly way. So there can be like parts of very easy grammar. There can be parts of really complicated grammar and really complicated vocabulary. And this happens like during 1 minute, both very easy language, very complicated language. So if a person at beginner levels of Japanese watches anime and tries to really dig into those structures, they can easily be lost. I have a video which is called How to Get Better at Japanese Listening. And there I make a point that level 3 is actually like this middle point in the studies is the point when a person is ready to get from comfortable, structured listening of classical textbooks and courses to the unpredictable realms of anime language. And they can get some interesting vocabulary, grammar from it, and they will be able to learn some things from it. Beginners in Japanese just will be really a lot confused about the anime language. Starting from N3, it is slowly becoming a pleasure. And as I was saying early in the beginning of this video, a person with N2 will get everything that the characters are talking about in anime. The person with N2 just will need time. And the person with N1 will just get more or less everything. If it is some complicated or very, very specific vocabulary, they will need like a minute to look it up. But apart from that, they will be okay because they're just hearing the conversations and understanding them and understanding humor, understanding dialects, and so on. So it's really a great pleasure and joy to be fluent in Japanese and to experience the language with all the pleasure one person can get from this language. I do believe that if a person loves studying Japanese, the whole journey of learning Japanese will be full with joy and pleasure and endless infatuation with the language. I totally relate. I'm still absolutely in love with the language. That's why I'm making this amazing Japanese characters, amazing Japanese kanji videos. Please check it out. And still, I would really recommend getting here to N1 because it's worth it. As I had this metaphor earlier when my sensei told me like aim for the moon and you will get to the top of the mountain. And so if we like imagine that this is the top of the mountain, the view from here is truly spectacular. So I really wish you to get to any level of Japanese that you aspire to and experience all the pleasure that these studies can bring you. So there you have it. It is a long journey and it is totally worth it. If you would like to get my help at any point of your Japanese language learning journey, I invite you to follow the links in the description and to see what I can offer. And as usual, follow your creative heart, learn Japanese, and I'll see you next time.